Have you ever wondered that if we are truly twin flames, why would the divine masculine choose someone else? Why would he marry another person, date someone else, return to an ex, or stay in a relationship that doesn't even seem healthy? Many people in such situations they conclude that their counterpart doesn't love them, they don't care, or maybe they are not their twin flame. But today, I want us to look beyond spiritual labels and explore this question from both a spiritual and psychological perspective. Because if you only see the third party as the villain, we often miss the deeper lessons involved. By the end of this video, you'll understand that why third party situations can happen, what they may represent, and why your healing should never depend on another person's choices. Hello my beautiful souls, welcome to Spiritual Bloom, where we bloom within our consciousness, with your spiritual guide and twin flame coach Neha. In today's episode, we will be talking about that why does the divine masculine choose the third party. Before we dive in, I want to make something very clear. Not every relationship involving a third party is a twin flame story. Sometimes people simply choose different partners. Sometimes relationships end and people move on. The twin flame framework is a spiritual belief rather than an established psychological fact. Now, one of the biggest misunderstandings in believing that the divine masculine runs because he doesn't love the divine feminine. In many cases, it is not necessarily love that frightens him. It is intimacy. Because true intimacy often forces us to see ourselves. A deeply transformative connection may bring unresolved childhood wounds, fears of rejection, shame, guilt, grief, or even feeling of unworthiness to the surface. Psychologically, when a relationship activates these vulnerabilities, some people cope up by distancing themselves rather than confronting the discomfort. Choosing another relationship can sometimes feel emotionally safer because it doesn't trigger the same level of self-reflection. Because that another relationship doesn't demand much, doesn't demand healing, doesn't demand sitting with oneself alone and fighting with their own demons. So, our nervous system often prefers familiarity over health. Someone who grew up with emotional inconsistency, criticism, neglect, or chaos may unconsciously feel more comfortable in relationships that creates those dynamics. Now, this doesn't mean that the relationship is healthier. It simply feels familiar. Psychologists sometimes refer to this as repeating learned relational patterns or reenacting attachment dynamics. A calmer, more emotionally available connection can initially feel unfamiliar or even uncomfortable because they are used to such inconsistency, neglect, and chaos. So when a healthy relationship comes in their life, they simply don't know what to do with it. In many spiritual communities, the divine masculine is often described as the person who avoids healing. Now, from a psychological perspective, this can look like avoiding emotional processing, because healing asks us to take responsibility for our patterns, and that can feel extremely uncomfortable. It's often easier to stay busy, focus on work, seek external validation, or enter another relationship than to sit with oneself, fight their own demons, and face their painful emotions. A third party relationship may become a distraction from unresolved inner conflicts rather than a true solution. Now, not every relationship is chosen solely because of love. Many people make relationship decisions based on family expectations, culture, religion, societal pressure, or financial stability. The right partner on paper may feel safer than someone who inspires profound inner transformation. Sometimes the choice reflects external expectations more than internal fulfillment. That's why they choose the third party, because maybe they belong to the same religion, same caste, having same family backgrounds, and it's easier to choose when things are aligning. But it's difficult to choose a twin who comes from a different country, different descent, different religion. To achieve union with your twin, you have to be strong within, because you have to take a stand. You have to fight with the society. The society will never accept your union. It will not accept your union because they're asleep and they'll never understand its depth and intensity. For them, the relationship may look like that these people are getting united, but their religion are different. How will they survive in the long run? How will they raise their children? So these things are extremely uncomfortable that the divine masculine does not want to face initially. And choosing a third party is more easier who is aligning with his values, religion, status, rather than choosing a twin who belongs from different religion. For that he has to convince his parents, his families. Their status don't match. He has a status outside. His reputation might get affected. So these are the things where the divine masculine does not want to take risk. Now the twin flame community often speaks about mirroring. Whether or not one embraces that framework, many close relationships do act as mirrors. A partner who sees your strength and your wounds can evoke both connection and vulnerability. For someone who fears emotional exposure, such as the divine masculine, a less intense relationship may feel easier to manage. It is not necessarily about loving one person more than another. It is about feeling more equipped to handle the emotional demands of the relationship. Some individuals, they seek relationships that reinforce their sense of worth. If someone struggles with self-esteem, they may be drawn towards an environment where validation feels more immediate or less challenging. This isn't unique to any gender, it's a human tendency. External validation can temporarily soothe inner insecurity, but lasting self-worth usually comes from within. Now, many people assume that if the divine masculine enters another relationship, the spiritual connection is finished. Not necessarily, and also not necessarily the opposite. No one can accurately predict another person's spiritual path or future relationship choices. Some people in this journey eventually leave the third party relationship as they come out of their karmic cycles, whereas some remain in them for life. Or sometimes, even if they come out of the third party dynamic, they choose to stay alone. The healthiest approach is to avoid making your own healing contingent on another person's decision. Now, in this situation, what does the divine feminine need to learn? One of the most difficult lessons is accepting that the other person's choices are beyond our control. Waiting endlessly for someone to change can delay your own growth, like I have told you in my previous episodes, that the waiting game can be injurious to your health, to your life, and injurious for your time. because time does not wait for anybody. And if you're waiting for someone, you are delaying your own union, you are delaying your own growth, you are delaying your own success and abundance in your life. Your life is valuable, regardless of how another person's journey unfolds. Always remember that. Now, in this twin flame spirituality, the term karmic is often used to describe relationships believed to involve important lessons. However, it is important to remember that we cannot determine someone else's soul contract or assign spiritual labels with certainty. Sometimes a relationship is simply a relationship. Every relationship can teach us something, whether we call it karmic, soulmate, or otherwise. The greatest transformation in this journey does not happen when the divine masculine returns. It happens when both individual becomes emotionally healthier, learning emotional regulation, taking responsibility for personal patterns, communicating honestly, cultivating compassion, and creating a life aligned with one's value. These changes benefit every relationship, regardless of whether a twin flame reunion occurs or not. So, the divine masculine often chooses the third party not because they are in love with them. Sometimes they are just attracted, and sometimes it's because that relationship feels more easier than the twin flame dynamic. Now, if you are currently experiencing the pain of third party situation, I know that it is heartbreaking. But always remember that someone else's choices do not define your worth. And real spiritual growth is not about convincing another person to return. It's about working on yourself and becoming more strong, grounded, emotionally resilient, and connected to yourself. Perhaps the deepest lesson in such situation is not learning how to hold on to someone else's, but learning how to come home to yourself. So if this video helped you understand that why does the divine masculine choose the third party dynamic, do like, share and subscribe. For any kind of personal guidance, you can WhatsApp or email me. My contact details have been given in the description box. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you again in